Hey all, and welcome to Shadow Space, and we are commenting on another BCP video. This one is called Dave Ramsey demands nurse dump her boyfriend for refusing to pay off her 100K debt before marriage. This is uploaded May 18th. This is being recorded May 19th, and link is in the description. So I actually go back to the beginning.
My boyfriend won't marry me until I paid off all my debt. Let's see it.
My boyfriend makes $250,000 a year.
Hold on. Okay, that's the title of the post. Refuses. Dave Ramsey tells the nurse to dump her boyfriend after he refuses to propose until she pays off 90K in debt. 26-year-old nurse with 90K in student loans. My boyfriend makes 250K a year, but he won't propose until I'm completely debt-free. This is just a
Making
transcript of
$250,000 a
the...
year. Probably one of my viewers.
But he does not want to propose until I'm completely debt-free.
You're not gonna like me.
I am.
If you were my daughter, you know what I would tell you?
What?
Dump him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Wait,
No, he's
what?
not.
He's
No,
making you prove your worth.
I completely agree with the guy. If she can't even manage her own finances, why would you want to entangle yourself with a person who has been proven that they're gonna fuck themselves up?
Listen to this dumbass take from Dave Ramsey, financial guru. Like, is he retarded? Like, what the fuck is this?
My boyfriend makes $250,000 a year, but he does not want to propose until I'm completely debt-free.
Interesting.
You're not gonna like me. If you were my daughter, you know what I would tell you?
What?
Dump him.
So her man makes $250,000 a year. He's probably debt free. If he wants his wife to be debt free, he's probably debt free as well, right? The girlfriend has $90,000 in debt. He told her, "Hey, I need you to get down this debt, and then I'll propose to you." Now, Dave Ramsey, who is a financial expert
Well,
who preaches.
I think the real question that you have to ask is why that would be a prerequisite. Why he wouldn't want her debt going into the relationship. Is it just that he didn't want to... Is it that he thought that she was just going to marry him for the money and then dump him? Or was there actual reason that they wanted to get married?
Debt free, who has different seminars and everything about how to lower your debt and everything, is telling this woman to break up with him because.
Well, hold on. You go from he just doesn't have debt to now he's giving seminars about being debt free. Is that what he does? I don't it doesn't say what he does. It just says he makes 250K a year.
Doesn't value her worth. Dude, like, get your head out of your ass. Quit. Like, this is the dumbest behavior. For somebody who preaches debt freeness, why would you encourage him to marry her who's financially irresponsible? It makes no sense. He's absolutely right. Get your debt down and then marry each other. Like, he's already paying the rent. He's already paying the bills. You might as well just pay off your debt, and then once you guys are financially safe, get married. Like, it's just simple logic. Dave, like, for somebody as smart as you are, that's just crazy to say, actually.
Boy.
I don't know who Dave. I don't listen to any of these people.
Boy. So we got to talk about this video that is going viral of Dave Ramsey giving some advice to a woman who is upset that her boyfriend won't marry her until she pays off her debt. Now, I want to react to this because I think that Dave Ramsey in this video right here is going to give some really bad advice that I don't think he would give if the roles were reversed, right? If the gender was reversed here. And I want to react to it because this type of boomer ideology, right, is something that young people like myself are rejecting, especially when you talk about relationships, when you talk about marriages. This type of stuff, I just think is very cringe. But I want to react to it because it is an interesting conversation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I've been with my boyfriend for a little over 6 years, and I graduated in
6 years? And neither he has proposed to you nor you have brought up the idea of getting married to him.
December 2023 was about $160,000 of student loan debt. I've paid off a lot. I have about $90,000 left.
Way to go.
Thank you.
So you're what, 24?
I'm 26.
26. Okay. And what's your career?
I'm a nurse.
Oh, good for you. Okay. And so you got 90,000 left. All right.
Mm-hmm. And my boyfriend makes $250,000 a year, but he does not want to propose until I'm completely debt free.
Interesting.
You're not gonna like me. If you were my daughter, you want to know what I would tell you?
What?
Dump him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's
he's
making you prove your worth.
Based on money.
Yeah.
To him.
Well, see, because if she's paying off debt, then isn't she already proving that she, like...
You're having
I
to
don't
buy
get
your way
something.
into this relationship. Nope. You're a princess and you deserve more than this.
You're a princess and you deserve more than this. Dave Ramsey doesn't know a damn thing about this girl. He doesn't know a damn thing about it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know about her. He doesn't know about him. He doesn't know anything about the situation other than she's in debt because she has student loans and she's been paying them off. But he won't propose even though they've been together already for 6 years until she gets her debt down. Like, when did she take out the loan? Was it when they first started going out together? Or was it like 2 years into the relationship, 4 years into the relationship? I don't...
His woman. But yeah, he's pretending as if she's some type of angel, right? He knows everything about her. She's a princess. She's amazing. And I'm like, you don't know anything about her, right? But he's just simping hard right now, right? This is the type of stuff that I think, again, young men are running away from, right? This type of old school boomer mentality, young men are running away from in droves, right? Because, you know, in this situation, the boyfriend is simply saying, hey, look, you got to pay off your own debt. You incurred that debt. You incurred that debt to go to school. They're not married yet. And when they get married, technically, financially speaking, you know, if you want to look at it from a traditional perspective, they will become one. So he's basically saying, look, I'm not going to inherit your debt, right? I want you to pay down your debt. I want you to pay off your debt before I inherit your debt, because debt is a liability, okay? Something that, you know, Dave Ramsey understands, right? Typically in a situation like this, he'll be very understanding. I highly doubt if this was a dude calling and he said, hey, my girlfriend doesn't want to marry me because she doesn't want to inherit my $90,000 liability. I guarantee you what he would be telling the man is, well, that's your responsibility. You got to pay that off, right?
I have
It's
no
not
idea.
her responsibility to pay it off. It's your responsibility to pay it off because it's your debt. But for whatever reason, that logic doesn't apply to this woman. Because
Well,
of this guy's...
They're saying that she's having to prove her worth, but if she's paying off her debt, then she is proving her worth? If she wasn't paying off her debt and she was relying off of his funding in order to pay it off, then yes, I would agree with that. But that, according to her, that's not what's happening.
You know,
I don't-
boomer slash, you know,
I don't get
traditional
it.
frame that I think a lot of young guys, again, are running away from this, saying, no, we
don't
don't want to
get it.
live in this type of world where women are empowered and there's essentially affirmative action for women as well, too, in the workforce in order to make things equal. But yet there's not really equal treatment because women aren't expected to take care of their own responsibilities, right? It's expected for a man to just inherit that responsibility. And apparently you're a bad man. You're not a good man, according to Dave Ramsey. If you're not willing to inherit a woman's liabilities, right? That she incurred, right? That's her own career. She got her own job. So I don't think that this guy is making her pay her way, right? That's the way that Dave Ramsey is framing it. I think that is really requirement because, again, one, it's a liability, but also on top of that, it shows whether or not she has the character, right, and the traits necessary to be in a marriage and to take financial responsibility before you decide to merge your assets in.
But she is taking financial responsibility. She doesn't make as much as him. Or maybe she does.
Merge
We
your
really don't
financials.
know.
It
There
is essentially
really
a test
isn't a
of,
whole
hey,
lot of
is she
information to
responsible
go
enough?
off of.
Is she responsible enough to be a partner that we're going to be able to have a stable financial relationship?
We didn't
she's-
even, like, this is how absolutely everyone has just completely jumped the gun. We don't even know if she's employed, how much money she's making, and how much she has to pay in loans.
not going to incur debt recklessly, or she's not going
They've
to.
also been together for 6 years. Like, is waiting a few more years really that big of a deal? Or however long it's going to take to pay off the debt. I don't know.
Give out on her responsibilities. Okay? So it's really a behavioral test. It's not about her buying her way. It's not what this guy's framing it as. It's about, hey, I got to know if this person I'm about to marry, that I'm about to take on her $90,000 liability, is she going to be a leech or is she going to be an asset, right? Is she somebody that I can build a solid financial foundation with? And that's very important because, as Dave Ramsey is going to acknowledge in his video, that finances are a top reason why relationships don't work out, why marriages end in divorce, because of financial reasons. And if she's not financially responsible, but he is, then that
which is the point that I made, that he doesn't want to get married just to have to pay off her debt, just to have her leave or like commit less after the debt is gone. Be like, well, I used him for what I married him for, and now I don't really care, it's irrelevant. But at the same time, they've already been together for 6 years. I just
the relationship long term. Essentially, what it sounds to me is that the boyfriend is making her prove that she's financially responsible before he decides that their assets and their financials should be merged. Man has to.
But that would make sense if they married, or not married, if they met each other and started to be in a committed relationship before she accrued the debt. If she went to school after they started dating, then I don't
constantly prove that he's a good husband, but asking a woman
well,
to prove that she's
but
a
at the
good
same
wife,
time, well, I don't know. There's too much.
that she's a good partner. Oh, well, that's too much. That's too far, right? You're a
Which we
bad
don't know.
man if you simply ask a woman to prove that she's a good wife, that she's somebody that is suitable for marriage.
Well, I mean, like, you say that person shouldn't have debt. So, like, should they even go to school? Should she have even gone to be certified to be a nurse in the first place? Should she have maybe found something that didn't need the education?
See somebody that you're going to trust to share your finances with, and somebody that's going to make good decisions that are beneficial for the family as a whole moving forward into the future. You're a bad person. You're a bad man to ask a woman to do that. But if a woman asks a man to prove that, right, that he will be a good husband, well, that she's just making sure that she's going to get taken care of, right?
The reason I've been able to put majority of my paycheck towards my loans is because he does pay for all our rent.
Wow.
Oh, so you live together?
Yeah, we live together.
Oh, so you're already married, but you just didn't admit it.
Yeah, it does feel like we're married.
Well, that
Yeah. So again, you got this guy, Dave Ramsey.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, you are. The only difference is that you don't have a marriage contract saying that you're legally married. this is the idea of common law marriages. Is after you've been together that long, people just assume that you're together. It's kind of just
Shitting on her boyfriend, even though I feel like he's a damn good guy, right? He's making $250,000, and he's also paying the rent, so he's probably paying all the bills and allowing her to keep all the money that she makes as a nurse. And he's simply saying, "Hey,
well,
the money."
see, no, she's not keeping all that money because a good portion of that money is going to pay off her loans.
You keep as a nurse, you should be using that to pay down your debt. If you
Which
don't
she
use
says
that
she
money
is.
to pay down your debt,
Or
then
she's grateful for the fact that she doesn't have to pay rent or groceries or that sort of thing, so that she can devote as large of a portion of her paycheck to her debt as she can. So she
can't get
is,
married.
if you believe her story, she is being financially responsible.
I think that's totally fair, because this is not even a split the bill type of situation. This is not a situation where he's requiring that she use a portion of her paycheck to split the rent or to split the bills. He's paying for everything and allowing her to use.
So here's the question: is once her debt was paid off, would that be expected?
Her money from her work to pay down her debt and to spend it on whatever else she wants to spend it on. And Dave Ramsey thinks that this girl should break up with her boyfriend, even though he's paying.
Well, I mean, arguably, again, we don't know how much she makes. Maybe she said it and I missed it.
He's
I
just
don't know.
saying, look, you got this extra money. I'm just asking you to use it responsibly, right? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what is so bad about this situation. What is so wrong? The more I hear about this guy, the more I think, okay, this is actually a damn good dude. He's making $250,000 a year, and at the very least, he's paying the rent. He's putting a roof over her head for her, which is a very traditional trait, by the way, right? She's gonna have a hard time finding a man that's gonna pay the rent and not require her to contribute anything, okay? Which is part of the reason why she's not gonna leave, right? She's not gonna leave because this dude has established.
Okay, but so don't women contribute in other ways that don't necessarily involve going into the workforce? Isn't that sort of the idea of the breadwinner household, where one of them goes off to work and the other person does those, just like the house management, like
average, due to the fact that he's willing to pay the rent, right? He's willing to pay the rent, and he says that, hey, since you don't have to pay the rent, these are my requirements for you.
Which personally I think is silly. You should know how to do a lot of things, whether they're for your gender or against your gender, just because most of those things are just important things to know. Like,
it's totally fair. And it's actually
if you want clean clothes and clean dishes, you have to know how to do the laundry and do the dishes. If you want plumbing and electricity, you have to know about plumbing and electricity. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't know at least basic information about how both of these things work.
On his part, because now she can't complain about imbalance in a relationship, that, they're splitting the bills and he's requiring that, she do more than she can't complain about nothing. A roof is being put over your head for free, right? You don't have to pay the rent. So therefore, now you have to do something in exchange for not having to pay the rent, right? If she doesn't want to pay off her student loans, then she might want to pay the rent, right? Or if she wants him to pay on her student loans.
But she's employed and she's making money, so she could potentially do that. So if they came to that arrangement, then what would be the problem?
Then she might want to pay the rent, and then he could take that rent money that he's not paying, and he can contribute that towards her student loan. I'm just saying.
Which, to me, would be a silly kind of roundabout way of doing it, but I mean, you could, I guess.
And this woman is complaining about it, and Dave Ramsey is giving her the wrong advice, trying to convince.
I don't even know. I don't even know what this show is. Is this like a life coach show? I don't know what they do here. My boyfriend says he won't marry me until I've paid off my debt. You already live together. Like, what does that matter? Getting married. What does that mean? People don't even want to get married. Like, stop. Like, what are we
This
even
woman
doing here? I don't
that her boyfriend is a bad guy when actually he's a very smart guy who's simply just saying that, hey, if you want this relationship to work long term, then you need to take the money that you're not required to pay to keep a roof over your head because I'm covering it. You need to take that money and make smart financial decisions because I want to be with somebody who's going to make smart financial decisions and I don't want to inherit a liability. He's basically encouraging her to use her money to help create a solid foundation for marriage, right? As a requirement to get married, hey, we need to be on a solid financial foundation.
He makes $250K a year for whatever. I don't remember. He makes a lot of money. He makes good money.
You would think that Dave Ramsey would agree with that.
I don't.
Yeah. So what's his
And again, once the sooner her loans are paid off, the sooner they can start building that nest egg with her income. The sooner she can actually start contributing.
And this, let me just say this, Haley, and I'm saying this because you're going to have relationships after this and you're going to learn from this. And there's people who are going to watch.
You're going to have relationships after this. They're literally telling her to leave a guy.
To leave stability for anything else.
Who's making $250,000 and paying the rent because he don't want to pay off her liabilities. This is insane, right? This is absolutely insane advice.
Watch this call and learn from this. This is precisely why.
I mean, again, what is the problem? They already live together.
One of the reasons why living together before marriage is it's a bum idea. It's not a good idea because what happens is you start to make bad relational decisions based off of the financial gain and
see, but how? She wants to get married, but he says that he won't.
Based off of the pressure that you've already put on yourselves. Yeah. It's a lot easier to walk away from a messed up relationship when he lives over here and she lives over here. And
when you don't have her debt, when you don't have her income level, it's easy to just say, yeah, well, quit your job or don't quit your job. Sorry, excuse me. Dump him, find some apartment, go live on your own, be your own person until you find Mr. Right, and then someone that doesn't treat you like this. Like, it's really easy to sit in this office and say that.
Get together when it's time to go on our dates. It's a lot easier to go, you know what, this guy's a bum, I'm going to walk away.
Well, you see, here's the thing. I'm very back and forth about the whole living together before marriage thing because her argument is that, well, because you're living together, it's harder to get out of the situation.
Like, what does boyfriend mean? That's such a loaded term. Like, does living together imply that they've been sexually active together? Or not? Because that is going to be also a large factor in the relationship.
The problem is that you don't know what it's like to live with somebody or to actually be married to somebody until you're actually married with them and living with them, right? If you live with somebody before you get married, it's kind of like a test run. It's like, yeah, it's going to be annoying to end a relationship if you have to end a relationship, but it ain't a divorce, right? Legally speaking, and you don't have to go through the process of divorce, which in and of itself is a whole nother animal. I would say that in a situation like this, her actually living with this guy, at least from the dude's perspective, he's able to test and to see if the relationship can work financially and whether or not she's willing to live up to her responsibilities before deciding.
No, because you're two different people. She has her lifestyle and her habits and the way that she lives her life, and he has his life and his habits and the way that he lives his existence. And then you bring them together. They're either going to mesh and they're going to work well together, or some of those things are going to be incompatible to varying degrees. And that incompatibility, depending on how well you can tolerate it, is going to create friction.
to get married to her. Because
if they have an annoying habit or there's something that they do, it's going to irritate you. It's going to bother you. And the more you don't say that it bothers you, or the more that you say that it bothers you, and they say that they're going to change but they don't, the more it just gets frustrating.
More money than she does, he clearly has more to lose from marriage than she does,
It's
right?
it's the curse of experience is you can't actually know until you know. You don't know what they're going to be like in everyday life until you actually are around them every day in everyday life. Can you stand being in the same room with each other for longer than 3 hours, 5 hours at a time?
So if she decides to leave him as a result of him not paying off her debt, then he dodged the bullet by choosing to test drive before I actually get married to her, which is something that, you know, he may not have been able to do if they was living separately, because living separately is different than living together. And you're not really going to know until you actually know, right? You're not going to know what it's like to live with somebody until you live with them, right? So I'm very back.
I mean, to me, just they asked no questions. They tried to get no other information based off of very little, I don't even know, points. Based on very few points, they have gone to incredibly elaborate conclusions.
Forth about the should you live together thing before you get married. I think it just depends on the situation, but generally speaking,
Like,
I think
I have to look. 1507. 26 years old with $90K in student loans. My boyfriend makes $250K a year. We don't know how much she makes. It's never said. So much of this story is just missing. And they don't know. Because I never heard them ask anything. They asked 4 questions, 5 questions, and immediately assumed they knew everything about the situation.
married. I think it just depends on the situation, but generally speaking, I think because marriage is such a legal gamble, right? Due to the fact that divorce rates are so high, I don't think that it is wrong to want to.
I mean, you really have to ask why that is.
Simulate marriage before marriage,
because divorce rates are incredibly high.
Make sure that the marriage can actually work. Now, things can always change.
Ironically, they're even higher among the LGBTQ community,
marriage,
but
right, because again of the legal aspect,
that's irrelevant.
Just how relationships tend to go.
We won't talk
over
about that.
time. It can always change, but I'm just saying I don't blame individuals who say, "Hey, let's simulate before actually doing the real thing to make sure that we're actually compatible." So I'm neither here nor there on it. I'm just saying I understand arguments both ways, to be honest with you, because had he jumped into the marriage, right, without making her prove
See,
it.
again, it's one where there isn't enough information. We don't know enough about their relationship.
Okay, without living
We
together.
don't know
saying, hey,
enough about their
rent.
relationship. We don't know enough
You need
about
to pay down
them.
your debt. You need to use your money to be financially responsible. He may have jumped into this not knowing that she'd be unwilling to do it, and then now they're in a situation where you have a partner that's not financially responsible, and you didn't know that until you actually got married, until it's too late, and now you got to jump through crazy hoops, legally and financially, in order to get out of it.
It makes it a lot more
Well, see,
difficult.
but like, I feel like you would even if you like, wouldn't that come up? Like, asking them what they did for work. If you were seeing each other for 6 years, even if you weren't living together, I would assume at some point in time she would pay for some things if she were financially stable. It wouldn't be just you as the man footing the bill for every single time you had a date for 6 years. She wouldn't ask him to go to something and pay for his ticket to go. Like, at
when suddenly you're in the same house and then you're splitting the bills and then he's paying for the rent. It makes it very
I
hard
don't know.
to make the natural transitions that we would have made if we had not applied that amount
And
of
so you
pressure.
move forward in a toxic, unhealthy relationship because you chose to share an address. Anyway, now
But he
you're not-
doesn't sound toxic. He doesn't say that he beats her. He doesn't say that he manipulates her. Like,
not going to do it. I can tell by the way you're talking. So
No, she's not going to do it because she's going to have a hard time replacing him, right? She's going to have a hard time finding a guy who makes enough money and is willing to not split the rent. That's why she's not going to leave. And this is why, for me personally, and I thought about this a lot, the ideal setup for a guy, right, in the modern world, right, when you talk about relationships, is to establish as much leverage, especially financially.
well, honestly, it's being self-sufficient. It's owning your own place. It's paying your own way in life. You shouldn't be getting married to share debt. You shouldn't be getting married to share financial responsibility, because the moment a partner starts to slack, or if one of the partners starts to make more, but it isn't quite enough to make ends meet, there's going to be friction. Well, they should be doing more because I'm contributing more, and they should be contributing as much as I am. If you are financially stable, then bringing them on shouldn't be more risk, because you can already take the brunt of it. It's when they do nothing and they ask more than you can provide that, again, there's friction. Well, why do you keep asking me for these things when I can't actually give them to you? If you want these things, then you should be self-sufficient, like I am. But that sort of system, according to people like this, is old world thinking. So,
Responsible over your woman or your girlfriend or whoever you're thinking about getting married to, because ultimately all relationships and the longevity of a relationship is going to be based off leverage. Okay, when people ask about why divorce rates are so high today versus where they used to be before the past, well, it's really because of a very simple reason. It's because women have more leverage today than they had in the past, right? In the past, when women didn't work, they were dependent on the man financially.
we'll see, but they aren't, though.
They couldn't just up and leave, because if they up and left, they would be in poverty. But nowadays that has changed because women have their own careers. The court systems are set up in ways that benefit women financially to leave, right, their relationship. So this is why when you look at, you know, who initiates most of the divorces, a vast majority of the divorces are initiated by women, because when women have the leverage in a relationship, aka they think they have a better option, right, they up and leave, right? They don't care about ending a relationship like that. It's different for a man. A man is not going to easily end a relationship over, you know, petty differences.
Well,
Okay,
see,
over stuff that
but again, so you shouldn't be. The whole point of dating is to see if they are the type of person who is going to just take you for what you're worth and leave you for someone else.
can be worked out. So when a man has more leverage, when a man has leverage over a woman, the relationship is much more likely to last longer. And that's why I feel like as a man, you know, you should strive to have as much leverage as you can over your woman, your girlfriend, your partner, whoever, because that ultimately will help with the stability and longevity of the relationship, because a woman is not just going to get up and leave a man when she doesn't.
No, the idea is to not get hitched to a gold digger and be self-sufficient so that you aren't dependent on them, so that if they leave for whatever reason, it doesn't affect you. Not financially, anyways.
Have better options, especially financially. In a situation like this, she ain't leaving him because he's paying the rent.
Yeah, see,
And him-
he can already support himself. He is fine. You could make the argument that in terms of paying off her debt, she needs him, he does not need her.
Paying the rent establishes leverage over her Because one, she's not gonna be able to find a better situation.
Well,
She doesn't want
she might, but she has to dive into the pool of eligibles in order to find that person.
to go pay rent. She likes making her own money and being able to spend her money on whatever she wants to spend money on. She don't even want to pay her own student loan debt. So we know she don't want to pay rent, right?
She though? She is. It's not that she doesn't want to. Is the reason that she would marry him so that he would pay off her debt.
She don't want that. So for him paying the rent, he's established that leverage over her where now he can ask her to do things that she
You say it's leverage. It's not leverage. You could argue it's a boundary. He does not feel comfortable taking the next step in the relationship until she is financially sound. That's the bottom line.
Like paying off her own student loan debt.
Or complaining on this show doesn't do anything. Like, negotiate. Well, like, if I take on some of the financial burden from you, would you be willing to pitch in? Like,
doing the chores.
Don't know if they did that.
That's a big one. That's a big one. You know, a lot of women object to doing chores.
But if you're just going to do work around the house and you're not going to be employed, then is there even a reason to get educated in the first place? I don't.
And household stuff and say, well, we need to split it. You know, between me and the man, we got to split it. Like, as a woman, I shouldn't have to do house chores. And, you know, they try to do this to get out of their role, right? There, what they supposed to do in a relationship. When they're splitting all of the bills.
I think that it's important that princesses marry princesses. Goodness, I can't speak. Princesses marry princes. A male who is, like, regardless of status, can support himself.
But if you take that dynamic out of it, where you're not splitting the bills no more, and the man is actually paying for the roof to be over your head, then now there's no objections. When a man says, hey, you need to, you know, do the dishes, right? You need to make sure you do the chores. You need to wash my drawers. Keep the house clean. Take care of the house. Be a homemaker, right? You can't object when the bills are all being paid, when the rent is being paid by the man. You can't object. And you can keep your own money.
Well, see, you always could. She could walk whenever she wanted to.
Is leverage at that point. And again, she's going to be less likely to leave because she's going to have a hard time being in a better situation by herself, alone, or finding a man that's going to give her a better situation. And that's why, again, she's not going anywhere. And this guy is not a bad dude. He actually sounds like a very smart dude, in my opinion. And this is why Dave Ramsey's advice here and his other.
No, because ultimately it's her choice. If she feels like she's being slighted and she can find somewhere to live that she can afford and continue to make the minimum payments on her student loans until she can find a better living arrangement, then she can. And arguably there's nothing wrong with that decision.
The woman's advice is just, it's terrible. It really is.
Here's the thing. We love people getting
It's her willingness to take that risk.
out of debt. You know that. And why do we love people getting out of debt? Because we love people and we want them to be able to prosper. And your number one wealth building tool is your income. You have a fabulous career choice. As a nurse, you'll always be employed and you can always work.
We also don't know what he does.
Much as you want to work. You can work
Did this say? I don't remember.
80 hours a week. You can work 20 hours a week. As a nurse, you'll be able to do that the rest of your life. And you can make a pile of money. All we tell couples to do is to be aligned, be in agreement on how money is going to be handled. Now, he is in agreement that he hates debt. You're in agreement that you've hated debt and you've been working it down.
Yeah.
Okay? But then he has put up a false block here. I'm just telling you, I love you, and if you were my daughter,
false block. What does that mean?
I'd tell you not to marry this guy. and because I think this is a false premise. You're aligned on what is important. You're aligned on, okay, we don't like debt. We're going to avoid debt. We're going to get out of debt. And that's not people have asked me since I came on the air here 35 years ago, should I marry someone with debt? And the answer is always yes, as long as you love them and you're aligned that we're getting rid of the debt. If you have zero debt, but one of you loves debt and hates saving, and the other one loves saving and hates debt, you're going to get a divorce later. The number one cause of divorce in North America today is money fights and money problems. And guess what this is? This is a money fight.
Yeah.
You're just not having it out loud. You're having it in your head.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
That's what happens when you build a relationship off of whatever this nonsense is. You need leverage in the relationship.
Now,
Which is all the more
what
reason
could
why
be going on?
That's
he is
what
justified.
happens when you treat a relationship like a business negotiation instead of like a partnership.
in asking her to do something very simple, right? Something that I don't think is unreasonable. It is to use your extra income that you got to pay for your own
To hold it over her head like blackmail.
student loans when you don't have to pay rent, right? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how is it that somebody like Dave Ramsey, who understands the importance of stable finances when it comes to successful marriages, why is it that he is so upset by this guy asking her to demonstrate that she is accountable for her own debt, right? And to take some responsibility for the debt that she incurs to make sure that the relationship is going to be on a stable financial footing. Why is he so opposed to this? I really don't understand. I really don't get it. I just think it's an old school mindset that needs an upgrade to modern society, right? And the world that we actually live in today, not the world that we lived in yesterday.
The world we live in today, I'm pretty sure still says that is still feminism.
This woman,
See, you haven't gotten rid of it. It's still there. Oh, we're winning the culture war. They're still feminists. They haven't gone away.
should take care of her own responsibilities because she
I
incurred
don't know.
those
I don't know what you think
responsibilities.
you've won.
And he's already pulling his weight by taking care of her in other ways, right? Financially.
And I'm going to allow a little space for this. He could just be an idiot today, and he just needs to learn a little bit about what it means to be in a relationship and what it means to handle money together. You said one thing that might cause me to go, I wonder if I brought this to him and, saw a premarital counselor, if we can get on the same page, is it seemed like he was willing to help with the debt. Now, you guys aren't, married yet, but in a married relationship, it seemed like he was willing to help, but he was helping in the wrong way. And so that's the only thing that makes me think he might possibly simply be misguided, because he said, oh, I'll pay the rent.
You could go to a marriage counselor,
I'll pay the rent if you
pre-marriage
do
counselor, and
this.
say, look, let's get aligned on this, or we're going to end this.
Yeah.
But if at the end of the day, the answer to the question is, I won't marry you.
Well,
Yeah, then
I mean, this right here is the problem. Do you want to know what the problem is with this relationship? It's perfectly encapsulated right here. Instead of talking with her boyfriend about this, she's talking to these two people about this. He's going to get home one day after listening to people like this, and she's going to start asking him all of these random questions that he is not prepared for, that he's going to stand there and be like, what are you talking about?
yes, we have a
Until
problem.
you pay off your debt. So the question's answered. You
Right.
value that more than you value me. Mm-hmm. See you later, alligator.
Yeah, holla.
After a while, crocodile, you'd be gone. Yeah, I mean, I'll be done with
It depends on what you value.
this. I'm just not doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do the cool kids say? See you, Felicia, or something? So,
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the cool kids.
don't
Like 20
say
years ago, the
that.
Cool kids, right?
Yeah, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. This is
She
probably
has
one of the
every
worst
right to
takes
be
I've ever heard.
offended.
We all know if the roles were reversed, right? If it was the man that was basically asking a woman who makes more money than him to pay off his debt, we already know what Dave Ramsey would say about that man. right? And who would be responsible, who should be responsible for that debt. But because it's a woman, because it's a princess, right? A princess, a woman he doesn't even know.
Well, see, a woman, a true princess wouldn't have debt. A true princess wouldn't want to work because a princess knows what her responsibilities are, which aren't going out and doing those things.
Doesn't know a damn thing about this woman.
Like healthcare, women-dominated profession. Don't want it to have to charge for. Want it to be a free profession. But you don't want something like defense to be a free profession, do you? You don't want us to be able to just send unlimited amount of guns and ammo and troops into whatever conflict we deem is appropriate, right? So no, so there are barriers. There are financial barriers to defense, not to medicine. The one has best barriers. The masculine has barriers, has extra resource costs. The medicine does not. Like,
she's a little princess, and he's a bad guy because he's paying your rent, but he doesn't want to pay your debt either, right? It's like, bruh, young men are walking away from this. We are rejecting.
Well, because they have rejected this.
Rejecting this type of symmetry.
They have rejected you and your interpretation of them.
Right, because that's what this is. This stuff right here is how dudes get burnt, right? And I personally think that this is bad advice. I think she got a good guy. If she was smart.
This honestly is why a lot of guys today, I think, don't even go into the dating market because there's no real reason to. Society, it doesn't value generations or generational wealth. It doesn't like, none of the values are there. They don't believe it.
Her extra money that he's freely allowed her to use, to
they can't even define why you would get married, let alone actually want to be married.
That right,
just
to do that, right? To do that and to continue on in a relationship because he's clearly smart and he understands the importance of her using her money wisely, even though he's taking.
It's when we're like, there was a thing I saw the other day, because I have to say this. It was like 80% of women want the top 20% of men. So I made it out to the math being like, so the 20% of the women are going to get those top 20% of the men. The 20% of the women who don't care are going to get the other 20% of the men, are going to get another 20% of the men, and then 60% of the women are just going to die alone. It's one where, if you want to counter this, the only real solution, and if you want to counter this, and you don't think that some men are capable enough to actually hold committed relationships, which is true, then, like, you almost have to bring back, like, polygamy or, like, harems. You have to allow that top 20% of men in order to be able to marry more than one person. You have to increase the amount of people that they can have so that 80% of women that want this top 20% of men can actually have them. So unless women are going to admit that, yes, they want to be in polygamous relationships with men, then, like, unless you want to say that Donald Trump should have been able to marry all 4 of his wives and not divorce one single one of them, then you don't have an argument.
That doesn't mean that
if you don't think that Jeff Bezos should be able to marry as many people as he wants, if you don't think that Mark Zuckerberg should be able to marry as many people as he wants, if you don't want rappers or celebrities, actors, if you don't want Kevin Hart to marry as many women as possible, then you're a bigot.
Not take care of her own obligations.
You aren't with the modern times. You aren't with the modern culture.
Hers and hers alone. and to make sure that she can do that before they decide to merge their finances and assets together legally, which is going to be very hard to undo in the future if she turns out to be somebody that is financially irresponsible. And that could make or break the relationship, the marriage in the future, and that will be way more headache than what they're dealing with now. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most important.
I know it was a controversial take, but it's one where I don't see what the problem is. I don't know why feminists would have a problem with that argument. You want the men of power, you want the men of status. If there are only so many of them, then you have to figure out some system to share. You either have to lower your standards and go after guys that fall out of that 20% range, or you have to allow the men within that 20% range to have as many of you as he wants. Like, you literally have to offer yourselves to him as objects. Like, that's, like, you have to admit that that's all that you are, is literally just a sex object for men. I don't... Sorry.